live. So welcome to my channel. Hello everyone, good evening, and welcome to Sashes&Scripts. This evening we are going to be talking about a gamut of topics, and we are going to try to break down some of the main key points that happened during the Vogue Threads in Manila, in One Ayala, as well as some of the pageant updates regarding the issue between the what do you call this? Ang hirap niyang i-describe. I don't think it should be an issue, but rather we're gonna be talking about what happened and what our thoughts are on the Chelsea Manalo, Adam Genato, Miss Universe PH na mga press statements, as well as some of the ongoing na pageants that's going to happen. It's currently that are currently happening. The Legacy Ball ni Catriona Gray. We're going to be talking as well about the Mr. World. What happened? What are my thoughts? How come ang baba ng placement ng Pilipinas, and several other mga pageant updates. So I think we should start first with the main topic, and then after that we'll read some of your comments, we'll read some of your thoughts regarding the topics that's going to be discussed, and then we'll do a very quick na mga updates on pageantry. So I know that there's a lot of people who are interested with the Vogue Threads because we are getting quite a number of engagements on Facebook and Instagram, as well as here on YouTube, of course, regarding the Vogue Threads where Heart Evangelista was one of the key panelists on the second day. However, Vogue Threads is actually a series of events, a series of industry-related na mga talks, as well as there's casting and exhibits, where a lot of industry practitioners, whether they're from the business sector, whether they're from the education sector, or whether they are practicing designers, entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, small to medium na mga enterprises, have gathered and listened to key opinion leaders in the industry. So Vogue Talks is actually not an entertainment platform. It's actually a way for people in the fashion and entertainment and advertising industry to gather and exchange thoughts on lifestyle, fashion, social media, business, and several other sub-industries that is within the larger sector of the fashion the fashion industry. So Vogue Talks happened at the 5th floor at the space at One Ayala from November 20 to 22. The first 2 days are actually the days where there are talks, series of Vogue Talks pertaining to different topics in industry. So on the first day, you had Kenneth Cobon-Pue, you had Amanda Nguyen, you have Karen Davila, you had the Vogue editors from Vogue Scandinavia, Vogue Ukraine. Desmond Lim of Vogue Singapore was also here, aside from Bea Valdez of Vogue Philippines, giving a talk on the future of fashion. On the second day, of course, we had Heart Evangelista, Ayin Bernos, we had Breckman Rock, we had Donnie Tantoco of the Rustans Group of Companies, and then we also have Vicky Bello and a representative from L'Oreal, Yasin Bakari. So in all those first 2 days, karamihan ng mga talks were centered on the business side of fashion. And then on the third day, where there were castings and there were portfolio review. Dito pumapasok yung entertainment and yung design side of the Vogue Threads na event. So in all of those 3 days, you are able to immerse yourself in the world of fashion. You're able to immerse yourself with the industry and the practice of how fashion is rolled out in the different sub-industries revolving the larger na fashion na ecosystem. So you had retail, you had people in the magazine sector, you had people at the social media sector and entertainment, you had influencers at various different levels. You have, I think you also had representatives from the government, from DTI, who were there talking about what are the government plans for the industry as a whole. So, is it something, is Vogue Threads something that is for the larger populace? I would say no. I think this is an event that is essentially for the industry itself, for industry practitioners. However, there are also mga practical tips and practical na mga knowledge that can be had, that can be, what do you call this, that can be learned from the Vogue Talks. Okay? So, in a bit, we are going to maybe go through some of the keynotes, maybe key pointers of the Vogue Threads and the Vogue Talks na nangyari on the first 2 days of the event. So there. We already have a commenter here. Reniel Ed Palina is here saying hi. So hi Reniel. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to our live stream this evening. I know this is a very last minute announcement, so I'll try to make this short because I have an early day tomorrow. So ayoko din naman na maging masyadong matagal itong live stream natin, especially that it's a incoming na weekday ahead. Okay? So, what was the key points on the creative side noong Vogue Threads? So there are 3 things. You had there the exhibit, you had there the casting, and then you also have the portfolio review. So ano yung mga nangyayari in these individual na mga events? During the Paris Fashion Week last September to October, the last few days of September and the first few days of October, Vogue Philippines brought a exhibit of maquettes or small dolls that was exhibited through the different na mga invited guests for Vogue Threads Paris. In that exhibit, kasama doon yung mga yung mga creations ng mga designers, mga Filipino designers on how they interpret the Filipiniana, how they see the Philippines moving forward as a creative industry. So they reinterpreted yung mga mga Filipiniana looks natin in different forms. And all of these mga designs were showcased in Paris. And then these same na mga designs are also exhibited during the Vogue Threads in Manila, Vogue Threads Manila 2024. And the beauty of that is that these are intended for Paris, but it's also showcased here in the Philippines during the 3-day event. It was a treat for a lot of students because I had students from I've seen students from the University of the Philippines, mga naging estudyante ko sa UP, sa SOFA, and as well as I Academy. So the exhibit is actually very interactive in the sense that you can actually you're actually allowed to touch the miniature garments that was on display. And I think that was one of the things that is very much very much appreciated by the students because they are able to see construction, they are able to see techniques on how they can build up their knowledge on their designs later on. So I think that was one of the key moments for the students to be able to see and touch yung mga fabrics na ginamit for the exhibit, yung mga designs that were used or created for the exhibit. And I think ultimately that kind of exposure, especially for fashion students, is really very helpful for their development as creatives. So, and then there is also the casting, where Vogue Philippines is trying to look for the next phase, the next modeling phases for commercials, editorials, beauty na mga tawag ito, beauty editorials for their magazines, and for, you know, for future references and use and discovery. They want to look at mga Filipino models with really interesting na mga faces, so that they can feature them in the future in the magazine. And I think that is one of the things that I appreciate when it comes to Vogue Philippines, because they really champion local talent in their what do you call this, in their pages. Not that it is a perfect, not that, you know, Vogue Philippines is perfect. It still has, you know, some minor tweaks that needs to be done here and there. But we appreciate the effort because I think it was more even evident during the panel discussion when you had different Vogue editors from different parts of the globe, where the Vogue Philippines stand in terms of its positioning across different Vogue titles across the globe. So, in the casting, again, there are some of models, new faces. They're trying to discover new faces for future, you know, booking and future opportunities to be featured on the magazine. Now, the portfolio review is another unique aspect of the Vogue Philippines, Vogue Threads na event, because creatives, whether they are in marketing, whether they are interiors, furniture design, or fashion design, can show their portfolio to a group of panelists, a group of industry experts, and they give feedback to these, you know, to these creatives on how they can improve on their design, how can they improve on their layout, how they can improve on the general sense of how to present their portfolio, so that they can have a better pitch to, I don't know, to potential employers or potential partners in the future. And I think this is very, you know, very helpful, especially for students. Dahil sometimes when students are very used to the very, you know, very aral or very learned way of delivering a critique from their professors or from their lecturers, nawawala yung perspective of an outsider. Because in most cases, educators, fashion educators like me, have already seen and been witness to the evolution of the styles, the creative styles of students. So with Vogue Threads and its portfolio review, they get insights from industry practitioners so that they know with how to better improve their content, how to better improve their presentation, how to better improve their portfolios in terms of sequencing, in terms of font usage, in terms of delivering a message. So I think these are really very important na tawag ito, na mga perspectives, especially coming from the outsiders, because they really, you know, rely on feedback, especially mga students. However, these don't come for free. Even the casting, it does not come for free. So there is a fee that needs to be paid. Now, if you want to, you know, to just take on yung casting and yung portfolio review, you have to pay 600 pesos for entry. And that would allow you to join the casting, the portfolio review, and the exhibit. So, but also you have to do some online na mga online na mga registration or on-site na registration for that, so that you'll be able to get a time slot doon sa review with them. Okay? And then there is also a fee to be paid if you want to participate, and you want to join in and watch the Vogue Talks for the first 2 days. So if you want to access the master class, the Vogue master class, where industry professionals at the beauty sector will show how they prep and do makeup, how do they do hairstyling, you have to pay a much larger fee. So the standard access, which costs at around 1,500 pesos, will allow you to participate in the Vogue Talks, in the Vogue Masterclass, and and get content with the exhibit. So that's the beauty of that. Aside from that, there is also this station. I think it was in around Hall B of space at Juan Ayala, where you can get freebies from partners, Vogue partners, and I was able to get a loot bag from Dove, as well as a loot bag from Vogue Philippines itself. And then there are some stations where you gotta get some mga stamps from their partners, and if you complete all the stamps, you get another what do you call this? You get another parang freebie for that. So if you're able to complete that, saka mo lang makukuha yung yung extra na mga freebies. So, and then there's also the premium na access, which is like each of those previous na mga access na nabanggit ko, the basic, the standard, and the premium allows you to get into all 3 days na mga activities. I bought the premium access because it will allow me to sit at the front row, the first 2 rows of the event, dun sa mga talks. And I wanted to do that because one, malabo ang mata ko. So if there are things that is flashed on the screen and I'm way too far from it, ang hirap kong basahin, and I cannot really I cannot really read, especially if the slides are being shown quite fast. So I purchased the expensive na mga tickets, which sa tingin ko naman sulit na sulit. I was able to ask questions during the panel, and some of the panelists have really very soft voices. So if you don't have a good hearing, it will be difficult for you to make sense of what they're saying. So fortunately for me, I was sitting at the second row. And the reason why I was sitting at the second row and did not go to the first row, it's because it was mentioned during the Vogue Talks na bawal mag-video. The problem is I cannot write that fast. So what I did was panakaw akong nag-take ng mga videos that I can use later on for teaching, for lectures that I can bring to my classes. So I think of course some of those are for private consumption. Some of the highlights, however, of the social media na talk, I posted last night in our YouTube na account. So Yun. There are a lot of things as well that happened during the Vogue Threads event, and some of the key talks I'll just going to run through with regards to the ones that I think can be can be used by the vast majority of you here on the channel. So the first one that I really wanted to highlight is the art and business of fashion na talk between Rajo Laurel, Mariana Zobel de Ayala, Patty Ang, designer Patty Ang, Jappy Gonzalez, and DTI Undersecretary JD Darong. Or Darong. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. The good thing here is that during the talk of the Undersecretary, he mentioned that the Philippines is positioning itself to be the premier creative hub by the year 2030. So what does that mean? It means that the government and what do you call this? The private sector is working together to be able to put the Philippines as the top creative destination by the year 2030. So which means that creative industries, creative related na mga crafts, industries, businesses would have a support not only from the government but from the private sector as well. So when we say creative industries, dito pumapasok yung film, television, magazines, crafts, small to medium na mga size na mga enterprises that are into fashion, into accessories, into creating video content for television and other avenues. Whether it's something like Netflix or I Want TV and other streaming platforms. So lahat ng mga industries na ito that has animation, that has what do you call this? That has arts, and whether it's traditional or applied arts, will have a support from the government. So this means that if you are, for example, a designer, aspiring designer, you will be having support from the government when you build up yung business mo later. And this also is, I think, a great way or a great avenue for the government to support the creative industry by providing funds, providing training, because there is this common notion, especially among parents, especially among mga parents that are more from the Gen X, mga boomers, mga older set of parents, thinking that when you go into fashion or you go into animation or you go into the creative industries, wala kang pera na maghihirap ka, which is totally very unfair, because if you're going to, let's say, just judge or look at the fashion industry alone, the fashion industry globally is estimated to have a revenue of $770.9 billion in the year 2022 or 2023. So this means that industry, the fashion industry, is an industry that you can actually earn money from. And the problem with older set of or older generations of parents, they do not understand that the fashion industry has so many job opportunities for its graduates, because the only thing that they know about the fashion industry is that once you graduate with a fashion degree, you go to become a designer. But that is not the case. There are other avenues of employment when it comes to the fashion industry. You can be a trend researcher. You can be a merchandise manager. You can be an operations manager. You can work in production and manufacturing. You can work in research and textiles. You can work in the retail sector as a visual merchandiser or merchandise planner. You can work at the merchandising and marketing and advertising section of the industry, where you can do promotions, you can do events. And then there's also the magazine aspect, the magazine sector of the industry, where you can be part of the styling, the printing of magazines, in the creation of, whether it's digital or actual na mga magazines. There are a lot of areas that the industry is in need of good talent. And this is largely ignored by a lot of potential na mga creatives, because they are always taught by their parents, by their elders, that there is no money in the fashion industry. Wherein, at one point, Bernard Arnault, the owner of the LVMH, the luxury goods conglomerate, at one point became the most wealthy man in the world. And then that is something that is also shared by Amancio Ortega of Inditex and Zara brands at one point in time. So it is a falsehood to think that the industry will not create that you cannot create a thriving career in the fashion industry because of that very narrow understanding of what the industry is about. And then there is also this, this talk from 4 different editor-in-chiefs from Vogue Philippines, Bea Valdez, Vogue Singapore's Desmond Lim, Martina Bonnier of Vogue Scandinavia, and Vina Brikalin from Vogue Ukraine. And essentially what they're saying in their talk was that the industry, or rather the magazine industry, the magazine itself is a platform for discourse, for intellectual conversations on politics, on the environment, on culture, on technology, and how all of these affects the society around us. And each of these, editors have heralded and championed each of these aspects in their local titles and their respective titles. So Vogue Philippines has been championing diversity and culture in their magazines. Desmond Lim has used technology and digital advancements for Vogue Singapore. He actually presented a copy of the digital content that they created with Charlie XCX for Vogue Singapore. And then Martina Bonnier of Vogue Scandinavia has created a discourse on sustainability for for the printing of Vogue Scandinavian na mga magazines. And this is yung kanilang conversation actually was really very enriching, especially for industry practitioners like me, because it allows us to look at the future of fashion, because the fashion industry has a bright future ahead, because one, fashion has always been a reflection of what's happening in society. So when society's discourse on sustainable na mga practices, which is very Miss Earth, talking about technological advances in presenting content, which for me is like very reflective of how Miss Universe, Miss Grand is trying to do in terms of their pageants. And then you also have what do you call this? Vogue Philippines talking about tradition and culture, which is essentially Miss International and the Japanese traditions that is always been expounded in the pageant. So parang feeling ko, yung apat na mga Vogue editors when they were talking, it was like, okay, these panelists, if there were a pageants, ito yung mga pageants that would align with their different na mga titles. And then that was day one. There were other talks, but I don't think that it's pertinent to the discussion on on today's live stream. The second day, dito talaga ako humanga because I think they put all the heavy hitters on the second day. You had Donnie Tantoco talking about the future of Rustans and how they want to propel Rustans towards the future in the retail sector, because they wanted essentially to modernize yung yung facade, yung image ng Rustans, while still being very true essentially to their brand DNA. And then you also had a discussion with Joyce Oreña, with Dr. Vicky Bello of the Bello Group of Companies, and then you had Yasin Bakari of L'Oreal talking about the developments of AI and ethics at the beauty sector. Kasi according to Dr. Vicky Bello, in the future, not in the future, currently they are working on mga AI technologies that would help diagnose yung mga skin imperfections, mga conditions that you have, so that they are able to hyper-personalized, that's the word that she used, hyper-personalized treatments through AI. And AI technology on beauty and how it will, study specifically yung needs mo at the anatomical level, would help, beauty mga clinics on how they are able to be more specific on the needs of each of their clients. But what really got me was the talk from Yasin Bakari's take and L'Oreal's take on ethics in the industry. So I think yun yung mga key points on the beauty department. And then there was, of course, the talk from Ayin Bernos. She was actually the moderator between Heart Evangelista, Bretman Rock, Niana Guerrero, and Raisa Herona. So the beauty of this was that they were able to talk about social media and social media influencers. And what really stuck to me there was throughout the entire discussions, Nina Hart, Nina Bretman, and especially with Raisa Herona, they were essentially telling us about the importance of authenticity and being true to yourself. And for several minutes, the talk was actually about an hour, I believe, or 45 minutes to an hour long. Parati nilang ini-stress on the need for you to be authentic to who you are, that you don't need to fake it to make it. And I think this really struck a chord to me, because this has been one of the things that has been documented in research on how to be able to reach the Gen Alpha and the Gen Zs, because the younger generation are more into authentic na mga brands who know who they are, what is their brand DNA, And those are the brands that they connect with on a personal level. And this is very important dahil um, there was it was mentioned during the talks. I think it was during the talks ni na Dr. Vicky Bello that um, the market ng mga Gen Z and Gen Alpha would comprise about 40 to 50% of the entire market of beauty. So if you want to be an effective na influencer at the beauty sphere, then and Alpha, the Gen Alpha are responding to. So, kung ikaw gusto mong magkaroon ng followers, magkaroon ng younger set of what do you call this? Of younger set of customers and capture the younger market, then you need to be true to who you are as a brand or who you are as an influencer. You cannot fake sincerity, you cannot fake authenticity, you cannot fake integrity, you cannot fake honesty, because these are things that is going to be observed of you in the long run. And dito, nagkakaroon ng problema on a number of influencers because you know whether or not they are very effective on what they endorse because nararamdaman ng mga tao, nararamdaman ng mga nanonood, people who consume their content would know whether or not they truly are fans of the brands that they are featuring in their feed. And this is one of the things that businesswoman Raisa Herona really harped about in the talk, because she said that there is a certain level of excitement that comes when the influencer is very authentic on their interest on a brand or a product, and that is the kind of influencer that brands would want to partner with. And dito pumapasok ngayon yung explanation why I think Heart Evangelista is able to sell out a lot of a lot of products, because she is genuinely interested on the products that she features. So she does not need to fake it in order for in order for her to be able to sell these products to her followers. She is genuinely interested on the Cartier na mga accessories, na mga jewelry. She is genuinely interested with the perfume of Thierry Mugler. So because there is genuine interest on the on the products themselves, that is the reason why a lot of people respond to that. That is why when Heart Evangelista put that that Bulgarian necklace on her dog, her Aspen, Panda, Ong Pao ko, suddenly a lot of for parents followed suit, putting their Bulgari necklaces on their pets. When Heart Evangelista, during the Fashion Week, the Paris Fashion Week, used that Pat McGrath lipstick, suddenly everybody was buying that same shade of lipstick from the website, whether it's in Sephora or in actual na mga stores, and see it sell out. So I think that is, one of the key takeaways from the from the social media talk between Bretman Hart and Heart Evangelista and the rest of the panelists. And it's also very interesting that when asked, Bretman Hart said that authenticity is marketing. And this was seconded by Hart saying that authenticity is the only trend that you need to follow. And that, I think, is encapsulating everything that was discussed during the panel, because it kind of showed us, and it kind of uh, illustrated to us that when it comes to, what do you call this, when it comes to fashion, especially at the influencer game, you need to be true with who you are, and be true to the interests that you truly that interests you. And in there's this, very smart quote from, from Bretman during that talk, when he said that your interests are the things that makes you interesting. So that, I think, is the reason why a lot of the people in that, in that panel, were truly mesmerized with that talk, and we actually felt that it was very bitin. That we wanted more, because the conversation was truly very magical, was truly very awe-inspiring, and there's a lot of tidbits of wisdom that you can, you can get here and there from the panelists. So that that is essentially, the best talk, I believe, during the entire Vogue Talks na series during the Vogue Threads na event. Okay? So, for everyone na tao ito na who might be thinking of joining the Vogue Threads maybe in the near future, next year, please be mindful that you are going there at an industry event. So it's a fashion and lifestyle na event, and it's not there to like entertain you. You're going there to learn something. So do not expect to be entertained. You're expected to learn, to participate, to think, to encourage, engaging conversations with the people around there. Because when I was, during the entire 3-day na event, I was able to get, industry contacts, meet up with, with mga tao ito, mga past and present na mga students from different schools. I was able to, gather new industry na mga tao ito, na mga people that I can partner with for future na mga events and talks that I can use later on sa mga schools. So I'm really, very, very grateful that I went into this into this event, kahit na kinakailangan kong maglabas ng pera, but paying 1.5, paying 3K for a pass at that event, I think it's really truly worth it, especially if you want to have a career in the industry, you want to build a career in the industry, you want to make connections with people within the industry, and especially if you are a industry practitioner. This is something that I would really what do you call this? I would really encourage you to join and participate with, simply because of the people who did the talks, the people who did what do you call this? Who did the Vogue Talks, the panelists rather, who did the Vogue Talks, who gave, expertise. I mean, it's not every day na makakasalamuha mo si Mariana Zobel de Ayala and be able to converse with her and ask, how is Ayala Land going to, to be able to what do you call this, to help small businesses, grow their business at the Ayala malls. It's not every day that you can, you can ask Rahul Laurel a question, or a undersecretary of the DTI, and ask ano ang mga government plans for creatives, what are the concrete steps that they need to access, that they need to do in order to get funding. So lahat ng mga yon are very much a not just a bonus but an experience na sulit doon sa pass that that I paid for. So there. Okay, so may mga nandito na nagko-comment. So kanina nabanggit na natin si Reniel Edpalina saying, "Hi, Ira is here." Sabi niya, "Good evening po." Good evening din. Binibini International, who is, taking a quick break muna from social media, is also here. Sabi niya, "Hello Sir Jason, mabuhay." Hello Binibini International. I know that you're on a break right now, but abangan because soon magkakaroon ng announcement on the application ng Binibining Pilipinas. So, all of the MUPH na mga tawag ito, na mga partners, local partners, have already started their search. So, Negros Occidental, Iloilo, Cebu, Pasig, and several others have already started yung kanilang mga tawag ito, mga programs to get candidates to join in as early as October. So asahan nyo na ang Binibining Pilipinas will start making announcement sometime soon with regards to Binibining Pilipinas 2025. I think this year mas maaga ang Binibining Pilipinas than usual. So, I don't think na aabot tayo ng July or June ng Binibining Pilipinas this year. Okay, Jason DeVille, what kind of Asian is this? This is a Filipino. Okay, so I do hope that you have a Filipino friend translating what we just discussed for you. Tiger B, sabi niya, "Hello Jason." Hello Tiger B 0719. I hope you're having a great evening right now. Mamaya mag-uusapan natin yung mga pageant na mga updates because I want to make this really, really short as much as possible, especially because it's a weekday tomorrow. Okay? Okay, ang daming comment ni Lemuel235. Let's just read through it. Kirk's performance in Mr. World was one of the best performances in the recent history sa Mr. World. Hope we would see him again, probably supranational stage, so kahit hindi na. Ganun din naman ang supranational. La Roche din naman ang supranational eh. Tapos, thoughts on, sabi ni Lem1235, thoughts on the pageant community, halos kastiguhin na ang kabaro nyo si Adam. Like, fans give Adam a break, people make mistakes, ang mahalaga, he owns his mistakes. Do you think 2025 makakasungkit na tayo ng major crown? Naniniwala ako, baka 2025 na ang taon natin. Okay, so medyo marami siyang comment. But let's start first doon sa Mr. World. Okay? Mr. World, ang tagal naghintay ni Kirk Bondad, the younger brother of Clint actually. Na he was, I think he was crowned in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Nauna siyang nakoronahan as Mr. World. And in the same year, he was also named the Superbod na winner in 2022. And we thought that around 2023 or late 2022, magkakaroon ng Mr. World. Ang tagal nung hinintay niya to be able to compete. And his performance at Mr. World was nothing short of excellent. And to be honest, I kind of had this gut feeling early on that they had the organization, has a certain bias perhaps towards candidates from Spain, Vietnam, China, Puerto Rico, and the US. Because as I was looking at the progress of yung kanilang competition, I keep seeing the same names at the top 30 of the multimedia, the top 30, oh, Italy as well. Top 30 of the multimedia, the BWAP, the head-to-head, etc. So I was kind of bummed because for me, Mr. World needs to crown, visually striking din na mga candidates every now and then. Kasi for the past several editions, I find that the winners that they crown, when you what do you call this? When you compare or you line them up with some of the winners from Mr. Supranational, from Mr. International, and other male pageant na mga systems, including Manhunt, it was kind of napag-iiwanan ang Mr. World. So I was kind of bummed during the top 20 pa lang because I didn't see the Australian rep making top 20, as well as Thailand's King Bombex in the first cup. So doon pa lang medyo kinabahan na ako na Mr. World is probably not looking for someone who is facially good looking. And when Kirk did not make top 10, I was kind of like, okay, I'm over this. I stopped watching the competition. I was not surprised na yung kapitbahay natin nanalong first runner-up. So I already felt na may certain biases lang talaga ang organization dun sa host country, whoever the host country is. So hindi ako nagtataka. And upon learning who actually won, okay, it makes sense because templated na kung sino yung tipo ng hinahanap nila sa Miss World, yun din ang hinahanap nila sa Mr. World. Someone na magaling kumanta, someone who can provide entertainment sa mga guests kapag may may mga event all over the globe, someone na very striking ang ang dating facially for Miss World winners, not so much I believe for Mr. World. Pero ultimately, feeling ko, kung sino yung gusto ng org, siya yung nananalo. So, hindi na ako nagtaka. I kept my expectations low while I kept my hopes, and support up for Kirk. Because Kirk has a very boyish na personality, very charming, very playful na personality, and maybe that is not something that the Mr. World is looking for, but I hope that at least a top 10 finish would be possible with the caliber that we've been sending candidates at Mr. World. This is not the first time that we send a halfie that is very full of personality, full of striking good looks at Mr. World, and did not even make a dent in the competition. I remember John Spainhour was really a potential winner in my book, almost a decade back. Andrew Wolf was again first runner-up lang. So it was really for me kind of a bit repetitive with regards to Mr. World, because I always knew na this is not a competition that they're looking for the best looking candidate. So I was, and this also was after the initial shock that Australia, the Australian winner of Manhunt International, I think 2 years back, did not make top 20 at Mr. World. That was kind of a bit, after the initial shock, parang I guessed, or I immediately was able to accept the result. Because it made sense to me that the Mr. World is not necessarily looking for the best, good looking, the best physique in terms of what they call this, in terms of their winners. So I think this for me only cements yung sentimiento ng mga Pinoy with regards to to the Mr. and Miss World na mga pageants as a whole, na kahit isang Catriona pa ang ilagay natin, or a male equivalent of Catriona ang ilagay natin dyan, kung hindi siya gusto ng organization, wala tayong magagawa. The best thing that we can hope for our reps there is to place. And yun pa lang, hindi na ako mahihiya na tawag ito na palakpakan si Kirk dahil unlike other reps in the past na hindi marunong man lang magtagalog, hindi marunong walang alam na Pilipino na kanta. At least with Kirk, he was able to showcase yung kanyang Igorot roots in his national costume presentation, in his national costume, and was really able to showcase yung pagka-Pinoy niya at the competition. So I think Kirk did his best in the competition, so I cannot fault him for the results. It is just hindi lang talaga tayo gusto ng Mr. Or ng Mr. and Miss World organization. So I am hoping na sana hindi ganito yung kahihinatnan ni Krishna next year. I do hope that for whatever reason, sana naman lang pumuntos naman tayo ng bonggang-bongga sa Miss World next year at maggawan natin ng mataas na placement for Krishna. We're hoping that. Okay? Now, I want also to talk about Catriona's legacy ball because I think it doesn't need to be said. Hindi kinakailangan sabihin ng paulit-ulit or sabihin ng ng madalas. But Catriona will forever be the Miss Universe standard. Whether new winner ka or old winner ka, I think Catriona has cemented herself as the standard that everyone before her and after her is going to be measured upon. And I really am very grateful that Catriona has been true, has been consistent, and has been a supporter of Young Focus from the time that she was a model, to the time that she was Miss World Philippines, to the time that she was Binibining Pilipinas in Universe, to the time that she was Miss Universe, and the time that she relinquished her title as Miss Universe, which only cements the good aspects of pageantry for me. This is the kind of winner that keeps my hopes up that pageantry can still move on towards the right direction, because right now I feel that most pageants are moving towards commercial na mga winners simply because the winners are good for business. So when I saw the reel, the reel that I shared of Kat saying that if she were a Miss Universe judge, she would have ranked Nigeria and Thailand higher. I kind of felt that because even for me, I was like hoping the 1, 2, 3 finish would have been Nigeria, Venezuela, and Thailand for being able to speak very well with regards to their final. With regards to their Q&As, whether it's the first or the final Q&A. And I think na what makes me really appreciative of Catriona is that she was never someone who did pageants and did advocacy work just so she can win a title. I think Catriona's dedication towards towards her advocacy work is one that is very admirable. Simply because I have seen several international winners from the Philippines. Hindi ko sasabihin kung sino, mararamdaman nyo na lang kung sino sila, na yung mga advocacy work nila when they were in Binibining Pilipinas, whether they are in Miss World Philippines, Miss something like that, or Miss ganitong title, hindi na nila nadala after their reign. And that for me was like, okay, we could have done better because these titles meant something for the pageant fans that supported you, and we're hoping na sana dala-dala mo kahit na hindi ka na main winner. And I remember several years back, was it 2 years back, or I don't know, maybe 3 years back, when Filipino fishermen were, what do you call this, where the boats of Filipino fishermen fishing at the West Philippine Sea were damaged by the larger boats of the Chinese Coast Guard. I remember Aurora Pijuan, Miss International Aurora Pijuan, saying that she would auction her Miss International tiara, the one that all winners were gifted for their win as Miss International. She said that she wanted to, she will auction her tiara if the government does not step up and help these farmers. Thankfully, the government did step up and help these farmers because they're essentially their boats are damaged, and then they don't have a way of living anymore because hindi ganun kadali yung bumili ng bangka para pumalaot sa gitna ng ocean. So this kind of philanthropic na pagkukusa from Kat really makes us admire her all the more because she's not doing it for the clicks, she's not doing it for the engagement, she's not doing it for personal gain, but she's doing it because she knows this is something that is true to her heart, that is true to her, to her values. And that is why I think swerteng ang Pilipinas. We are so blessed and lucky for having Catriona represent the Philippines at Miss Universe because she embodies someone that everyone can aspire to be. And I think when you have someone like Catriona to aspire to believe that we can do better, it makes our perspective of things that could be daunting as something as achievable. So, kudos to Kat for really making it feel that everything and anything is possible because you are there showing that it is possible. So thank you for the charity work that you're doing, the advocacy work that you're doing. Okay? So right now pala, the Miss Intercontinental, I just saw it earlier bago ako nag-live. Wait lang. Our representative, si Alisa, oh my God, I forgot her last name. Sandali, let me just... Okay. Alisa Marie Redondo. Sorry. Mutya ng Pilipinas Intercontinental. Alisa Marie Redondo is now in... what do you call this? Is now in... Sunrise. Sadali lang, bubuksan ko na lang yung tawag nito, yung aking phone. Okay, so she is now in Sunrise Remal Resort for the Miss Intercontinental na competition. She has been officially sashed as Miss Philippines, and I hope na tawag ito, na supportahan din natin siya. I really thought that Samantha Victoria Acosta, who won, second runner-up, congratulations, Sam. I'm really very happy with the way that you represented the Philippines after like just less than a week na preparation in before she left for Malaysia. Akala ko si Sammy yung last na magko-compete among the girls this year. So apparently, I forgot about Miss Intercontinental. That's happening now. And we have Mutya ng Pilipinas, Alisa Redondo, representing the country. So I do hope, we get to support her as well. So there. What else? Ano pa ba yung mga nakalagay sa aking agenda? Sorry. So let me just look up my what do you call this? My código. Okay. Another thing. I also wanted to what do you call this? I also wanted to comment on the upcoming national pageants. Okay. So because the election is going to be around May, so expect that it's going to be a very hectic first quarter of 2025. So January, February, March, April, those are the months that I think Miss Philippines Earth, Binibining Pilipinas Binibining Pilipinas, and Miss MUPH are going to schedule their finals. So it's going to be a very hectic na tawag nito na first quarter of the year. So expect na magsasabay-sabay, magkakaroon ng mga conflict of schedules later on for the finals ng tawag ito ng mga pageants na yon. So be prepared. So sa mga pageant girls, for the pageant girls Filipinas who wanted to join Binibining Pilipinas or Miss Philippines Earth or any other pageant systems next year, please, start dieting, start working out, start preparing as early as now, this December. Tigilan na muna nyo yung pagkain ng lechon, stop eating, the really very rich foods this Christmas, because it is more likely that the screenings will happen quite early this year for these pageant systems. Okay? Ano pa ba? Let's jump in muna sa mga comments because there's some lengthy comments from you guys here. Okay, there. Tiger B 07919 says, I feel bad about what happened to Adam. I think he was only telling the truth. Chelsea went to Mexico as a princess, lacking the caliber of her predecessors. Hindi mag-top 30 kung walang Pinoy involvement. I also believe Adam is as eloquent as you. Pinaliwanag niya using sandwich method yung thoughts niya, kaya lang ang na-pick up at highlight yung not so good to hear part ng criticism niya. Sana okay na siya now. Sabi ni Lemuel, wait lang. Nasaan yun? Nasaan yung comment ni Lemuel? Sabi niya, hindi rin Sir Jason, bakit tayo naging host country noong 2019? We were never favored by the org or even making top 5. Medyo siguro naging bias kasi pinattern sa template ng Miss World. Lemuel, I just think that kapag tayo ang nag-host, patas tayong lumaro. Yun lang yun. Kung sa ibang bansa siguro medyo questionable. But then again, that's just my take. Ira says, I agree. Also, it should be innate in a candidate to really research on how one should represent herself during the pageant and be witty and confident enough to answer the questions during the pageant. Okay? Wilbert Herrera says, I am not sure if you already talked about Adam's dilemma. I think he was just being candid about his thoughts. Unfortunately, he was the chosen scapegoat. Whew. Topasi PT says, Hi Sir Jason, happy Sunday po. Do you think Vietnam is even deserving to be in the top 5? Pansin ko, second time na ito nalaglag ang Philippines basta sa Vietnam ang venue. Cosmo, ganun din ang ginawa sa atin. Ganito lang yun. Kung hindi niyo napapansin, yung organization ng mga taga roon magwawaldas talaga ng pera for a placement. And nakita natin kung paano sila mag-voting sa Miss Universe noon, na may taon na magkasunod na kada may voting, sila yung nananalo, sila yung pumapasok. So, yun na. Gets nyo na yun. And, na blind item ko na rin in the past na kaya nananalo sa mga pangkalalakihan yung isang kapitbahay natin dahil naglalabas sila ng pera. So, bahala na kayong umintindi. Pero kung natunugan nyo yung chichi na yon from, I think, a year back, naiintindihan nyo kung bakit sila ang nananalo ngayon. Okay? I do hope na you get what I am trying to say. Read between the lines na lang. Okay? Topachi, PT, tanong niya, bakit po kaya nagpapadala pa din tayo ng reps sa Mr. and Miss World kung di tayo type ni Julia? Alam niya kasi din na MU country ang Philippines. Kasi, kailangan may representative ang Pilipinas dahil tayo ang nagpapaingay sa mga pageants na ito. Okay? Lemuel 23.5. Sir Jason, nakalimutan mo Mr. Philippines Worldwide will also be staging their pageant early 2025 for next candidates sa male pageants internationally. Wilbert Herrera, I agree that advocacies die when pageants end for most of these queens. It seems like they are being coached on how to come up with one for the sake of the pageant. Kiisa says, Vietnam din ang Miss Charm. Sunset Cookie, magandang gabi Sir Jason. Have you watched the controversial Cracks in the Crown documentary about Miss U? Messi. Sunset, I haven't seen that yet. I'm still looking for tawag ito, where I can watch it. I don't have Hulu, so makikibalita ako dun sa mga sa mga amiga, mga friends ko na na may Hulu na account, so I can watch. Hopefully, by the next live stream, may meron na tayong masasabi about the documentary. Kasi I think that ultimately, kahit na noong sabihin natin IMG pa, nung sina Paula Sugar pa ang naghahawak ng Miss Universe, meron na talagang mga biases on certain countries na nangyari. And ayokong masaktan kayo na nakikinig, pero nakinabang tayo nung mga panahong yon. So, hindi ko rin pwedeng sabihin na hindi ito applicable, yung mga issue na ito doon sa nakaraang pamunuan, dahil nakita ko rin even during the times na nagko-cover ako mismo on ground sa pageant ng Miss Universe, nakikita ko yung special treatment. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na yung mga placement ng mga Pinay na sumali sa Miss Universe during the IMG era at that time hindi warranted or hindi nila ginapang, na hindi nila pinagtrabahuan. So I think that it just so happened that whatever good favors na that was going through our way during those years, our girls fought hard, fought for those placements, earned those placements. Kaya masasabi ko na tinabaho ng mga candidates natin. Nowadays, I feel that there is a different atmosphere in the selection of winner at Miss Universe. And I cannot say I am pro, I cannot say I'm against it, but I am saying is that we gotta learn how to play the game, because nowadays it's more complex how to play the Miss Universe game and win in the Miss Universe game. I think nowadays you need like a Game of Thrones level of like planning to get to the throne. So I do hope na whoever is being crowned for next year would be able to, face that very daunting task of representing the Philippines in a competition that is that I feel nowadays has changed so much from the time that we all knew growing up, because most of you grew up in the 2010s, 2000s with the pageant. Me, I grew up with the pageant from from the late 80s to the 90s. So I really have seen the tawag ito, the Harold Glasser to the Donald Trump to the IMG era, and now to the new set of owners. So masakit na sabihin na ang dami niyang pinagbago, that it was very unrecognizable who this pageant is from who they were in the 90s when Procter and Gamble used to own Miss Universe. It now feels quite alien for me, because I feel that there is a disconnect, a personal disconnect from myself to what the image of Miss Universe is growing up, to who Miss Universe is, the organization is now. So it will get time for me to be able to adjust to it, but it's not going to be an easy adjustment, unfortunately. It will take, it will take, quite some time for me to, to recognize who Miss Universe is now, because ang laki talaga ng pinagbago niya. I also feel na, na kung tatanungin mo ako ngayon, gugustuhin ko bang mag-cover ulit sa Miss Universe? Parang, sa ngayon kasi, gusto ko munang makilala ulit kung sino yung pageant na ito. Who the Miss Universe pageant is. Because I feel right now that I have no idea kung sino yung pageant ngayon, who they are, what they stand for, what advocacy do they promote, and I am really grasping at straws, in thin air, on where can I find my love again for the Miss Universe pageant. Kasi I feel, it really feels alien to me right now. It really feels like I have a disconnect with the pageant and who it is now. Parang feeling ko nga na mas may connection pa ako with Binibining Pilipinas. I know who they are, I know who their brand is, than Miss Universe. And to think that I fell in love with Miss Universe before I fell in love with Binibining Pilipinas. So there. Sakit, no? Pero will tulad ng sinasabi ko, right now I am at I'm at the point in my pageant career, so to speak, that I want to find the positive, the happy, the joyful things in pageantry that I can personally relish, enjoy. Because right now I feel that that is one of the things that I lost when it comes to pageants. That I am starting to, I'm starting to lose yung pleasure of being in this community, in being in this industry na I feel that we need to find, the happy place, the happy spot with Miss Universe again. Kasi I think medyo tayo ngayon, medyo in shaky grounds tayo with Miss Universe. So I don't know if do you feel that way as well? Please do comment below, so that hindi naman ako nag-iisa. Yung I don't feel alone with this feeling. Okay? Um, Madali lang. Medyo natutulian na ako ng lalamunan. Ano muna tayo? Okay. Whew. Uh, Going back to Sunset Cookie, I do hope na once I watch yung documentary, I hope that I am more looking at it from an academic point of view without emotional investment, because right now I really feel that malayo ang loob ko with Miss Universe na pageant as of now. Parang I am looking at it at the perspective of someone who is studying it, not necessarily someone who is, truly enjoying and relishing the experience, unlike before. Okay, so nasa na ba tayo? Sabi ni Lemuel 23:5, is Vietnam this hungry just to win a crown? Na willing sila magwaldas ng pera just for a win? Tapos pag nanalo rap nila, hindi umiingay yung winner nila kasi not winnable yung energy. Tignan natin kung yung nanalong Miss International ba na Vietnamese would have the same energy as Andrea Rubio. Let's see if the Mr. World First Runner-Up would also have the same, buzz as, let's say, Andrew Wolf in was it 2012 or 2011? So let's see, because right now parang if you're asking me if which among the male pageant winners ng mga Vietnamese, whether it's the Miss International, Manhunt International, or whatever na mga pageant, male pageant systems, wala akong maalalang pangalan. Or wala akong maalalang muka na immediately yun ang pumupukaw ng attention ko. It's kind of hard and difficult to really find someone who is really very interesting, very commercial, or very, yung willing kang i-follow yung career niya post winning an international title. Okay? Sabi ni Margaret Pascual, I feel that too, Mr. Jason. Ganyan din pakiramdam mo. 'Di ba? Parang yung nakagisnan natin ng Miss Universe, ang layo na nung sino siya ngayon. So I do hope na hindi tayo umabot sa punto na totally mawalan tayo ng amor with the pageant, because that is the direction that we collectively as Filipino fans, I believe, are starting to feel. And kapag lumala, ang hirap niyang ibalik. So we are a Miss Universe country still. I still believe that. But when you start chipping all the things that we love about the pageant system, one by one, and unti-unti tayong nadi-disappoint with how the organization is run, how the pageant is lacking of gloss. Ang hirap niyang ipagtanggol down the line. So I do hope, we find the kind of Miss Universe that we can really be proud of once again, because I think there's a dwindling feeling of support for Miss Universe after yung mga nangyari nitong mga nakaraan. I think the last 2 years have really shook us in terms of yung amor natin for the pageant. Okay? Sabi nga ni Margaret Pascual dito, sobrang layo na, sir. So I agree. Okay? Tiger B0719 says, magka-generation tayo, Jason. Do you still remember yung hosting ng Pinas back in 1994? Yung commercials ng ABS-CBN na countdown ng Miss Universe from back in the day. Sarap buhayin nun. Walang issues, pure fun lang. I agree. And I remember na may mga cards na piniprint from the press presentation ng mga candidates, where pag bumili ka ng mga snacks, kasama yun sa mga tao ito, so mga nasa likod nung plastic nung mga snacks na yon. So I remember that, I remember those mga experience na yun dahil I remember Minorca Mercado was wearing a white swimsuit. Charlene Gonzalez and Carolina Gomez were wearing what do you call this, blue in those during the press presentation ng mga Miss Universe candidates. So it kind of felt for me, like collector items na pwede mong itago and really relish. I just can't remember where are those cards now. I feel na I feel na it got lost somewhere in the province, and yun yung feeling na ang sarap sundan ng Miss Universe. Okay? EJ Belge, sabi niya, "Hi Jason, the only Mr. World I remember is the one from Colombia because of his looks. I don't remember his advocacy really. I can't remember even his name. The Mr. World that I actually truly remember is Sandro Finoglio of Venezuela, and that is in 1998. So, ganun katagal yung tao ito, yung naaalala ko with the Mr. World winners. I can't even remember the black Irish guy who won Mr. World in the past. So, a lot of these, a lot of these things kinda is the reason siguro na medyo wala na rin akong amor talaga sa yung Mr. and Miss World na mga systems. Okay, nasa na ba tayo? Sa Topashi PT says, bakit po kaya parang nagiging experimental ang Binibining Pilipinas at MUPH? Kahit alam nila prototype ng mga pageant na sinasalihan nila. May scarcity na po ba tayo sa quality ng candidates joining? Okay. I remember during Angelica Lopez time at Binibining Pilipinas 2023, Sir Stephen Diaz was saying that there's no prototype at Miss International, and I bought into that. I really believe that there is a big chance that a mestiza and a morena has equal chances of winning Miss International, only to be proven by the Japanese judges na there's a template, na baby doll, na doll-like beauty pa rin ang hinahanap nila. And I was really hoping that there will be more inclusivity in terms of winners ng Miss International. I was really hoping and harping that maybe in the next in these last 2 years we would see a black winner. So I'm still holding to that hope, but unti-unti na akong namumulat sa reality that they will always each pageant system, whether it's Miss Earth, Miss Universe, Miss World, they will always navigate towards the familiar na kind of winner. And I noticed that when Sacra Guerrero of Venezuela, the one who was, I think, third runner-up in Miss International this year, ibang-iba yung kutis niya nung nanalo siyang Miss Venezuela until sumali siya sa Miss International. Pumuti yung rep nila. So that was then that I realized na in as much as we want a candidate na tawag ito na palaban na morena, kung ang set of judges ng Miss International year in year out are the Japanese, are the tawag ito, are the mga ambassadors na tawag ito na nakatira sa Japan. They will always crown a winner that would appeal to the Japanese market. So unfortunately, we have to pivot back doon sa mga Nicole Borromeo, mga tawag ito, mga Hannah Arnold na mga winners for tawag ito, for Binibining Pilipinas International. There. Sabi ni Tiger B, oo nga, hala, ninakaw ng Becky namin kasambahay yung nag-college na ako dito sa Pinas, yung collection ko ng mga cards na yan. Diba? I also remember din kasi na yung panahon na yon, si Miss Belgium, si Christelle Roylands, tawag nito, floral yung swimsuit niya na ang tawag nito na parang kulay yellow, pink, and baby blue. Diba? Tapos meron pang swimsuit si Miss Mexico na nakaputi. And all of these, these are core memories that we have of Miss Universe 1994. And we are hoping that the nostalgia of having a Miss Universe winner who can really speak, who can really, who is smart, would be the legacy that we will see again in the future. Sabi ni Kiisa, Miss MUO is more on business na, not anymore a platform to highlight the women. Also, the social causes, like, for example, the Smile Train is also a big factor. And unfortunately, they are no longer partners with Smile Train. So, that's another thing na I feel sad about. Kasi, for the longest time, Miss Universe stood for women empowerment, HIV/AIDS awareness and research. I remember in the 1980s and the 1990s, every time may AMFAR gala for HIV/AIDS research, parating present ang Miss Universe noon during the time that it was owned by Procter and Gamble, yung pageant. I remember that may mga commercials yung mga Miss Universe winners nila in their countries with Procter and Gamble na mga products. So, alam mo yun, very commercial pa din, even back then ang Miss Universe. Pero ngayon, it just feels like it has totally changed yung dynamics ng pageant na it's no longer as exciting as it was before. So there. Sabi ni Topachi PT, parang almost the same girls lang sumasali ngayon sa pageant, Sir Jason. Parang wala masyado bago na sumasali. Okay. Curious 1616, your thoughts po, sir, sa auction ni Pia in December. Curious 1616, this is something that has been published since April of this year. So, I'm glad na finally mangyayari na. Kasi I remember there is I think there was a write-up from ABS-CBN that the plan was to do it in May. Hindi nangyari. Tapos there's another press release in around June or July na mangyayari in October. And then there was another press news that it's going to be happening in November, and now it's in December. I hope na matigil na itong mga postponements at matuloy na. EJ Belge, so does Mirna fit into that MI mold, Sir Jason? I do hope na paputiin na siya. If that is what Miss International is looking for in terms of the winners, then we give them that. Sabi ni Wilbert Herrera, reshuffle na lang lahat. Angelica Lopez to MGI, MMD to Miss International, Mirna to Cosmo. Tingnan natin. Pag-usapan natin yan siguro in a different live stream kung pag na-reshuffle ba ang tawag ito, mga girls natin for international competitions, may chances pa tayo na mag-play sa Manalo. Because the Miss Venezuela, tawag ito, na pageant, has recently crowned its Miss Mundo Venezuela and Miss Venezuela International. And parehong morena yung nanalo. So, let's see. Okay, so, I think ito yung topic na pinakakaabangan ng lahat. Everyone, I think, is waiting for my take on Adam Genato and his critique on Chelsea Manalo's placement at Miss Universe. So, for those na tawag ito na napanood yung episode ni Adam, Adam actually tawag ito actually made a critique that is valid. The way that he presented his thoughts is very clear, at least for me, that ang ginawa niya is meron siyang sandwich method na ginamit, good, bad, good. Unfortunately, a lot of us are very focused on just the negative part. And I don't remember having that same of a backlash when Mark and I said that the Naomi Campbell energy was not on Chelsea Manalo during the finals, but it was actually with Miss Miss Nigeria, Idima. So I think for those who don't know Adam, Adam has this wear my heart on my sleeve na personality. He wears his heart on his sleeve. So it is so easy to read Adam. And when Adam makes a critique like that, knowing him personally and being with him in Sash Factor for quite some time, Adam has this ability, Adam has this, I would not say mistake, or Adam has this, what do you call this? Adam has this, what he thinks, it immediately comes out to his mouth. There is no filter. I think that is the fault. That is a flaw, rather. That is a flaw of Adam when it comes to presenting his ideas. So, when he has a thought, he does not positive script. He does not filter. So, if it comes to his thoughts, it automatically comes to his words. And I think that is a double-edged knife. It has its pros, it has its cons. The pros is, that what he is saying is without malice. That he is being truthful with what he thinks. The problem with that is that his inability to filter his thoughts is used by other people against him most often. And yun yung parati kong sinasabi kay Adam that be careful, because not everybody can be trusted, especially in this industry. People who you call friends would backstab you if it means that they can monetize from it. And unfortunately, I've said this hundreds of times before, that in pageants, there are no permanent friends, there are only permanent interests. So you have to be very careful of the people who you trust, the people that you reveal your true self with. And this is something that I've learned the hard way. Because instead of having a friend tell me, you made a mistake, this is the mistake that you made, correct it before you get called out, that same friend would put me in a blind item, talk about this, blah, 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 give, give incentive to followers to, what do you call this, to pound in, and pile in the hate. And I feel for Adam, simply because every vlogger critiques each of the, what do you call this, each of the placements of the girls. And I think that we should be given the opportunity to say what went wrong and where are the areas that we can improve on, so that the results in the future would be different, right? Because I think it is valid to say and to criticize yung performance ni Chelsea, because everyone has different standards. We have different points of view. And sometimes it is when we have, different differences in our opinions, and when we push, we shove it in the throats of other people that only our opinions are valid, only our opinions matter. That is when we have this kind of problems popping in. Now, perhaps Adam could have worded his critique more gently, or with more sugar coating in it. Um, but I think that more than that, we also should remember that during the time during the time that Adam was covering for Miss Universe, everybody was saying good things about him, about his coverage. That we are very grateful to Missosology, with Adam and Sash Factor, with the Crown PH for their coverage of the Miss Universe pageant. And I kind of find it hypocritical for some content creators and pageant vloggers that you are reposting using his content on your feed during the pageant proper, and then attack him with such ferocity that he had to humiliate himself and publicly apologize, crying about something that we could have shown much more grace on. I understand that not everybody would have kind, a kinder perspective with regards to Adam. I also expect that not everybody would agree with me and would hate me for whatever reason that people can invent. But I do hope that when you are consuming content and getting feedback on what's going on during the Miss Universe pageant from content creators like Adam, you do not use that as a way to get something over him, or you don't use that as nagamit mo naman siya kaya fair game lang, because I find it, again, I find it hypocritical for content creators and pageant vloggers, that they use Adam's coverage to pad their own social media accounts, not be there in Mexico to cover themselves, and have the audacity to call him off, and say all of these negative things about him when hindi sila when hindi sila agree dun sa sinabi ni Adam, and did not view the entirety of his video to get more context on why he said what he said. Kasi when all of these shenanigans happened, a lot of us jumped in the gun without actually reviewing the entirety to get more context on what is being said. And I do hope that in the future, if ayaw nyo kay Adam, then wag nyo namang wag kayong pumunta sa ano niya, sa tawag nito, sa page niya para lang magkalat ng hate ninyo. Because kawawa yung tao eh. Nagpapagod siya. He is spending resources that not everyone has to cover and say what's happening on the ground. If a lot of Filipinos is umaasa sa mga Latin pages na hindi naman natin naiintindihan ang sinasabi nila, nandun si Adam, nandun ang Misosology, nandun ang Sash Factor, nandun ang Crown PH, where we get reliable information from. So, let's give these people some slack kasi hindi lahat tayo maglalabas ng pera to do coverages abroad or even buy tickets and cover the pageant. So let's be kind, especially if hindi natin gusto yung tao, dahil at least siya gumagawa ng paraan para mabigyan tayo ng updates, and hindi tayo gumagastos for information that kung totoosin, binibigay niya sa atin ng libre. So, yun yung gusto ko sanang isipin natin, that sa dinami-dami ng mga pageant content creators, vloggers na nagbigay ng honest critique on Chelsea's performance, because even I would say that Chelsea's performance at MUPH was a stronger one as compared to her competition at Miss Universe. What we saw in Mexico seemed to have been watered down doon sa very potent na capabilities ni Chelsea on stage at NUPH. So I don't know if the organization, the Miss Universe Philippines organization, said na baguhin natin ang strategy ni Chelsea for Miss Universe in Mexico, gawin natin siyang princesita, to give her more softer na styling, because it was already evident between me and Mark that what we see Chelsea being fierce on social media with all of these very editorial, very strong, fierce na photo shoots is not translating on what's happening on the ground in Mexico. We already said that during our live stream when we reviewed the pageant. And I hope that people would try to think whether or not the criticism is valid before attacking Adam. So I know there is a way of communicating so that your message is understood and is clear. I think that is a flaw and a fault that Adam needs to work on. But there is also a way of receiving the message without looking for bigger context, for more context on what is being said, and then react to it. Okay? I think that ultimately, there is a gap between what is said, what is fully said, versus what is truly received by the audience. And I think it is here where having the ability to eloquently and smartly say what you mean, and for a weird reason, it seems that you need to sugarcoat it for Filipino pageant fans. We really need to work on that, on Adam's side and on our side as spectators, as recipients of the message. Let us not take things too personally or offensively immediately without knowing context first. So, yun lang. I know Adam is a person without malice. He has a very childlike, mentality. when it comes to coverage. He can easily get overly excited. Um, pero walang mali siya. Walang masamang intent. I would rather that people will give him a second chance, because when he does do coverages, um, it is with a childlike na tawag ito, na mentality, that he gets overly excited too too fast, too quickly. But there is no malice, there is no ill intent on his part. Unlike when other people would attack you for simply having an opinion. So I think this has blown way too much out of proportion, to the point na even the Miss Universe Philippines org, I believe, has not truly or fully understood the entirety of the context, without seeing without seeing what was said positively about Chelsea versus what is the things that has been said, that could help Chelsea or the Miss Universe Philippines organization to improve on in the future. And sana we don't get immediately offended when there are people who would say, sana nilaban na lang natin si ganito or nilaban natin si ganito, because these are valid na mga opinions from different na pageant fans. The only difference is that Adam has the platform. Adam has, kumbaga meron siyang microphone to be heard. And I know these are thoughts that could have been said kapag medyo hindi pa sariwa yung sugat ng pagkatalo natin. Hindi man pagkatalo ng low placement natin at Miss Universe. So there is also a lesson on timing that needs to be learned. Na kapag medyo sariwa pa yung sugat, wag mong anuhin, wag mong kaskasin ng asin, 'di ba? Medyo sariwa pa, medyo mahapdi pa. So maybe in the future, when we talk about critics and criticism on critique rather, not critics, critique and opinions on what could have went wrong, we learn to be more or rather, we learn to have more finesse in the way that we express this. So, I think that's all I have to say with regards to this topic. Kasi nararamdaman ko, bugbog na si Adam. And sana naman, ito yung mga pagkakataon na isipin din naman natin kung ano yung mga coverages niya na natuwa tayo. Kasi right now, it is actually the foreign media people, foreigners, foreign consumers of his content that is saying that we are just being overly sensitive, that the Filipino fandom is just being overly sensitive. And they are actually the ones who are saying that his criticisms is valid, his point of view is valid. It's just that we are just too sensitive with what he has said or what is being said. So I do hope na sana maayos ito in the future. I also hope that this should not discourage Adam from covering the pageant in the future, because we need more representation at the media table when it comes to pageant coverages. Dahil unti-unti nang nagiging mas marami yung access ng ibang mga bansa sa Miss Universe, and we need a unique perspective coming from a Filipino voice doing pageant coverages. And sorry, nawala sandali yung internet. As I was saying, we need a unique Filipino voice at the pageant coverages at Miss Universe that would give us, a thorough understanding of what's happening at the competition. And I think that tawag ito, that whether it's Adam, whether it's Sash Factor, whether it's the Crown PH, or it's Missosology, we give these people, these media people, some slack because hindi biro ang gastos. Hindi biro ang puyat. Hindi biro yung effort na um, bibili ka ng 1,000 worth of ticket, bibili ka ng 2,000 worth of airfare, sometimes 3,000 USD yung or 4,000 USD yung magagastos mo doon sa mga mga transfers mo from Manila to the US or wherever the pageant is held. Hindi biro yung wala kang tulog na once na natapos yung event, live stream ka, watermark ka ng mga photos, magpo-post ka on social media. So I really hope that the next time that we have disagreements on opinions, we be more mindful of the efforts on the person on the other side, especially for pageant media people who are not being paid to deliver this kind of to deliver this kind of news for for us to consume, these kinds of coverages for us to consume, because from what I have seen throughout the Miss Universe pageant, even foreign content creators are using Adam's coverages in their in their own feed. So it means that napapansin tayong mga Pilipino dahil kay Adam. It means that the international pageant community recognizes Adam as a legit media person. Kasi it's again, ayokong makasagasa dito sa sabihin ko, but it has to be said that for people who have experienced the Miss Universe coverages like me, I have covered Miss Universe for 4 or 5 consecutive years in the past. Ang hirap ng gastos, ang hirap ng pagod, ang hirap ng ang hirap ng hanapin yung joy after all of this coverages that felt like work. This is the reason why I understand where people who cover Miss Universe as legit pageant media are coming from, because I experienced that as well. It came to the point, I've said this again and again, it came to the point that it felt like it was a job and I was not experiencing joy in coverages at Miss Universe anymore. So I went to Bangkok in 2018 to just experience the pageant, to not cover the pageant, and just experience the finals while enjoying my stay there. And I think a lot of people do not understand that when covering pageants becomes tiring, becomes something that you no longer enjoy, papatayin niya yung interest mo to do coverages. And this is the reason why I am trying to find the joy in covering pageants again, because I still feel that with Binibining Pilipinas, but not so much anymore with Miss Universe. So I think for speaking from someone who experienced covering Miss Universe, I do hope that we become more appreciative of the efforts that Adam and Pawi of Missosology. I think it was I think it was Christian in Miss Universe. I'm not sure. and let's be appreciative of the efforts that they do in order for us to be updated, to be in the know on what's happening on site, on ground at Miss Universe. So, yun lang. And sana, um, mahanap din natin sa loob natin na mapatawad natin si Adam dahil knowing Adam, he has a good heart. He just tends to be he just tends to be very unfiltered with the way he speaks sometimes. Kung anong nandito, labas ka agad sa bibig, and I think you get that as you mature, as you age in tawag ito in as a pageant media personnel. So there, I think let's now just wrap it up with your comments kasi my gosh, guys, umabot na tayo ng almost 2 hours. I thought that this is going to be just a very short, quick na live stream, pero yung mga nandito, ang dami yung mga comments that I feel it's very valid to read. So give me, just maybe 5-minute stops, and let's just go through some of your messages. Okay. Oh my God. Paula Sugar says, sana may chances sa Binibini 61st push na lang sa one main title ang Binibini. Pwede. Why not? EJ Belge. There. EJ Belge says, I'd rather see him say things as how he feels it, especially that he has shown us his passion by even going to the events. It's a new beginning for him and he has to embrace it. It indicates maturity. Pinoy Halo Halo Channel says, in my case, wala naman nagbago sa perception towards Adam G. Mas maraming siya nang natulungan sa pag-cover ng Miss You. For me, sana wag siyang mawalan ng gana, perhaps. Okay? Hindi. Mawalan ng pag-asa at continue lang sa fashion niya. Okay? Sa passion niya. Okay. EJ Belge says, Adam has rocked the boat. And I hope more vloggers will support and follow him. Too bad he shouldn't have apologized. Adam, you're doing a great job. Wilbert Herrera is here. Magandang gabi, Wilbert Herrera. Sabi niya, I still think that Adam got bullied because the org thinks he can't fight back. He might be down right now, but I hope it makes him stronger. Success is always the best revenge. Okay, continuing yung comments dito ni Wilbert. Sabi niya, asking Adam what he contributed to Chelsea's journeys just says a lot about the person who posted it. Isn't it clear that every fan actually contributes to the candidate? I would think the glam team does not support Chelsea for free, but I may be wrong. Kiisa says, pang one big white paper and made one black dot sa gitna. Ang nakikita lang ng karamihan is yung black dot, not the other white space. I kinda agree. Sometimes we have a tunnel vision when it comes to the things that a person did right versus the one thing that the person did wrong. Tiger B 0719 says, feel better Adam, naiintindihan kita. Mag-comment sana ako sa mga posts about sa'yo, kaso baka mabash or mabully din ako, kaya dito na lang. Fan mo pa din ako at agree ako sa mga thoughts mo. In fact, parehas tayo. Okay, another comment from Wilbert Herrera says, sabi niya dito, Adam should continue and keep himself away from that org. There are other opportunities out there, especially with all these changes in the pageant systems happening. He should reinvent himself. Pinoy Halo Halo Channel says, ano na lang ba ang sasabihin natin? Oo na lang ba? Kahit may kulang sa part ng mga pageant organizations? Aisha Sia says, hello dear, hello, welcome to the channel, welcome back to the live stream. Unfortunately, this live stream has both Filipino, Tagalog conversations, parts of the conversations in English. So I do hope YouTube will be able to roll out a better AI that would do auto-translate other languages into English when English is not being used as to communicate. Um, okay, Aladdin 1838 says, borderline is he wished kasi na sana ibang candidates ang ipinadala over Chelsea kasi Barbie hinahanap. Okay lang siguro if pointing out MUPH orgs, hindi nyo talaga nagigets Chelsea won fair. I think naman Aladdin, nobody is questioning why Chelsea won MUPH. She was the best during that night at MUPH. That is why everyone is supporting her. Because we saw that kaya niyang ipanalo, kaya niyang umabot sa top 5. It's just that we are kind of wondering what happened when the Chelsea that was so strong, very powerful, very fierce on stage was tweetums at the Miss Universe stage. So there was a sort of disconnect with what we saw at the nationals versus what we saw at the international competition. It's just that we do not know what happened between the conversations of her team, the organization, and Chelsea, sorry. But we're hoping that sana hindi na nila binago yung way of competing ni Chelsea, because it did not help, in our opinion, for her to make an impression with the judges. So we're hoping that maybe Adam could have worded it better, but I don't think that the pageant fandom is questioning why Chelsea won. Okay. Now let's continue with the comment from Aladdin. Especially the competition was over, he commented that after supporting Chelsea, point out the org's faults, not the candidate. They have nothing to do with it. They're performing. Okay, Aladdin, we cannot make a critique that it's all the org's fault, because it's actually Chelsea who is competing. Look at MMD, Michelle. The way that she competed at the nationals is the same Michelle that we see at the Miss Universe. An improved version pa nga of Michelle D from MUPH ang nakita natin at the Miss Universe stage. We are questioning what happened. How come the very strong performances of Chelsea at MUPH was not the same thing we've seen at the Miss Universe competition? We cannot blame it all on Chelsea. I agree. We cannot blame it all on the organization. We cannot blame it all on the glam team as well. Each one of these has contributed to what the result is. And I think that we only have to remind ourselves that each one of them has ownership on what the results is. Dahil lahat sila, I'm assuming, nag-usap-usap na ganito ang strategy natin pagdating sa Miss Universe. So, the results, it is what it is. I am glad that Chelsea was able to, break the Mexico curse of we never placed at Miss Universe when it's held in Mexico. So, at least yun nabasag niya. Plus, she made, the history of being the first Miss Universe Asia na Continental Award. So, on that end, we're still very much proud of what she's accomplished. But it is not all. That does not also mean that we can be complacent, because we need to learn what are the missteps that we took, why we didn't advance further, so that the next girl that we are going to be sending at Miss Universe would not make the same mistake and would not get stumped in the competition at maungusan ng ibang mga candidates because we did not learn from our past experiences. So yun lang. I think it is better for us to think of what we did wrong so that we can think of what we can do right in order to compensate for the errors and mistakes of the past, because we cannot keep on going to Miss Universe and keep making the same mistakes over and over again and not learn from our experience and from our past experience. That is only what I'm trying to say. Okay? Um, uh, okay, Aladdin is saying here, yes, I agree with you. It was a different Chelsea, but comparing na sana si Atisa or Christy ang pinapadala, kasi Barbie ang hinahanap, not the difference of performance. I'd accept the comments that you were weaker than what you did sa MUPH rather than sana pinadala na lang ibang kandidata dyan kasi weak performance mo. Again, Aladdin, that is very valid. That is exactly something that I feel Adam should work on. It is, finessing the way that he verbalize his thoughts. I think that is an area that Adam needs to work on. Again, Adam has only been doing this for how many years as compared to me that I have been doing this since 2013, 2014, na mas matagal na yung kumbaga sa adobo, mas matagal nang na-marinade, kaya mas malasa. So Adam is relatively new as compared to me because I started covering pageants in Bali with Megan Young in 2013, and perhaps the kind of finesse when delivering, these kinds of unpopular opinions is something that, you learn through age, unfortunately. Sad to say that, maturity takes time. It takes experience and a lot of mistakes and learning from it in order for us to mature, in order for us, to grow as a person, as pageant media personnel, as, content creators. So there, I do hope that we're clear on that. I'm not saying that Adam is without faults or without flaws. I am saying that there are flaws and faults that needs to be addressed, that needs to be, corrected. So there. And I do hope that tagal nitong ating live stream because we had a live stream that's like almost 2 hours. That's almost 2.5 hours now. We learned something about the entire experience, and I hope that we can move past this. The Binibining Pilipinas, the Miss Universe Philippines, Miss Philippines Earth is coming in again in the next 2 to 3 months. So let's conserve our energies and let go of all of these frustrations. What's done is done. The new queens have been crowned. Their reigns are ahead of them. So let us just focus now on the next national pageant season, because I think there is a need for us to finally win an alpha title, because it has been so long and we don't want that it would take another 30 years or 40 years before we experience, the renaissance, the pageant renaissance that we had in the 2010s. Remember, the last pageant renaissance that the Philippines had was in the late 60s to mid 70s. Let's hope na hindi umabot ng 50 years, 40 years before we earn another one of those alpha titles. Okay? Final thoughts here. Daniel Yuzon is here. Team replay na lang ako. Late na ako. Galing pang work. It's okay, Daniel Yuzon. Do what is right for you. If team replay is something that is is something that fits your schedule, then team replay it is. It doesn't, it doesn't take anything less away from you. We appreciate you nonetheless, even if your team replay or your team live. Ang importante here is that we are in this community together, fostering a community where we can, we can have intelligent conversations. Okay. Aladdin says, thank you for giving your thoughts. Appreciate it. Thank you din, Aladdin, for, for being candid with us. We love this kind of conversations that we have someone from the opposite end of the table telling us their thoughts clearly on the matter, because that is when we exchange perspective, that we learn and we grow from each other. Tiger B 0719 says, thank you again for your time, Jason. Walang anuman. Wilbert Herrera says, ganda ng live na ito. Thank you. Salamat din, Wilbert, because you stuck through this live stream kahit na ang haba-haba na niya. We're already 2 hours and 15 minutes in. And as a final thought, I think that we can close the Miss Universe chapter with a much lighter heart now. I do hope that whatever disagreements that we have, we can work it through. Except siguro kung talagang nagkasaksakan kayo ng behind your backs, diba? Ibang usapan yon. But these kinds of disagreements, I think we can all agree that we have different opinions, and it is only when we respect each other's different perspectives and points of view that we can actually grow as a community. I keep on fostering here that we need to have intelligent, mature conversations, and I do hope that moving forward, as we start to grow, as we start to to hit the 8K na mark of subscribers here, we continue to mature as a community, as a pageant fandom. Okay, before we leave, I just want to say thank you very much for everyone who joined us in our live stream. I do hope that before we all leave, please do give a thumbs up on this live stream. Please help us, to generate more eyeballs, so that our content is pushed to more people, and we get to invite more people to join us in our growing community. So thank you very much for everyone, to everyone who joined us, and I do hope to see you again soon. Bye everyone, and have a great week ahead. Okay?